As a Jew in the world, how am I supposed to walk the street?
Hey everybody, New York Jew here, and today I'm going to teach you how to walk the streets of New York. So what you got to do, in case you forgot, you take your right leg and you walk forward like that, then you take your left leg and move like that.
We're Jews who support Palestine. Of course, I use Alhamdulillah, Inshallah, and Wallah.
Hey! Did you make this shawarma? It's delicious, man. Oh.
What if I threaten you guys? Just hear me out. I hope that you get cheated out of your overtime. How about that?
Maybe you could just try calling the guy.
Jacob Berger.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, man.
Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Of course, man. Thanks for all the letters asking to be on it.
Yeah, I know. You finally responded, man. You know, I just had to make some calls.
Yeah.
So where you from, man?
Born and raised here in New York City, from the Bronx, you know, and I lived out in LA for 4 years after I went viral with my comedy, and moved back here to New York like 2 years ago, and I've been loving being back here in New York. You know, New York is such a big part of who we are, especially as performers and entertainers. I'm sure you can attest to the New York comics and stuff.
They're badass, man.
Yes,
they're scary.
Yes,
yeah.
They're scary, but
they
we're
bark.
funny, you know.
I stay out in California where it's safe.
Right. Well, that's debatable, you know. That's debatable. I would say the people, I remember, because like downtown LA is like a scary place. Like I grew up in New York around like, you know, homeless, but down there, I remember last time I was in LA, there was a guy in the corner just swinging a knife, like, you know.
We had some gangsters out there.
Yeah, and when Sammy says he lives in LA, he means Glendale.
Right,
So.
of course. Yeah. And then I did a comedy rap video. Funny enough, it was called I'm a Jew. It was to Meek Mill's I'm a Boss in 2011. And it didn't go viral like I go viral now, but it did like a little bit. It was like posted about by like Barstool Sports and stuff. So I was like, okay, like maybe I got something here. So then I did a couple little TV gigs, one of those like reenactment shows, you know, like the murder porn kind of things where it's like, I was like a strip club DJ and gets seduced by this woman. I kill her husband, kind of like those reenactment shows on Discovery. So I was like, this is nice. And then basically I joined the industry and started working in major TV and film like within 3 years. And
yeah, because I've seen you on some, been on some like networks.
Yeah, I was most recently on The Idol. You know, I've been on Power. I've been on a lot. I have like over 20 some on, you know, major TV film credits. So that's primarily what is my primary focus. The social media thing came out of the blue. That was not an expected thing. Because hip hop's always been a big part of my life. And back when Trump won the presidency, I remember we were just all kind of just in shell shock as liberals. Like, we couldn't believe it that like this happened. And at the time, Bad and Bougie was like the hot song at the time. So I was like, let me do a Trump parody to Bad and Bougie. And maybe that'll put a smile on people's face, make me, you know, make him look like a buffoon as he is. And it went viral. And then from there, I just started making content. And then, you know, 7 years later of doing social media, it's like, been an incredible journey.
Yeah, man, you've been killing it on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah,
and
TikTok's become like the primary platform, so I've had to clean up some of my content a little bit. I can't be as racy as I once was on Instagram.
Are they? I mean, because I get censored a bit on TikTok, but I don't know the extent.
Oh yeah, no, I can't post anything with like women on TikTok. Like
really?
any like a hint of cleavage, like a whiff of booty, like
they take it down.
Yeah, we'll get taken down and stuff. But now I'm in a place where I've had enough viral videos where I have a TikTok manager. It's like the total opposite of experience of Meta. Like I can actually call someone and be like, hey, this is going, like if there's an issue, like, oh yeah, we got that, don't worry, as opposed to Meta that's like give two shits about their creators.
What was your role on The Idol? Were you a strip club DJ?
No, I was security in the first episode. I had a nice scene with Eli Roth where he's coming in and we just have like a little funny little repartee back and forth because I was supposed to be in the season finale of Euphoria season 2. Sam Levinson had cast me in it, and long story short, the second day in of the shoot, they were running out of time, so they cut my scene, but so they ended up remembering me. But unfortunately, after October 7th, like Sam ended up becoming a crazy, super nut Zionist, so I had to unfriend him and block him. I was like, he was posting the most nuts, like, you know, just Hasbro type BS shit.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I see, you know, a lot of people from the industry. So you had like a thing with Michael Rapaport.
Yeah, funny enough, we used to be friends, me and Mike. Like, I always been compared to him. I kind of look like him a little bit, you know, we're the New York hip hop Jew kind of stuff. And it was funny when I went viral because through my friend Loopy, we ended up going. He was doing when he first started doing stand up probably 7 years ago, and then I got to meet him. And I've hung out with him multiple times. I met his wife, like you know, like I know him, like you know. And he's not all that boisterous kind of attitude filled guy. I don't know if you've had any experience with him in the room, but he's not at all like that. And so that's why when I saw the way he acted once October 7th happened and just doubled down on the hate and the Islamophobia and everything, I was just like, this is nuts. So it's very, the internet
So
is
you don't
having a
think
good time.
you don't think
seeing
that's really I mean you think he's playing up that.
I think it's
character.
more about
Yeah.
about ego than anything else,
For
because
sure.
he's like me. He's a cultural Jew. Like, he doesn't go to temple. He's not kosher. He doesn't observe the Sabbath. Like, most Jewish people in America are like Reform Jews. Like, I say New York City Jews, so we like shiksas, which are non-Jewish women. Like, good deals on things, like Seinfeld, like, just when he's like Larry David S type Jew, like, so that's why it's so disingenuous where he's suddenly become like found Judaism and all this stuff. Like, it's just, I think it's more about ego, and they've doubled down, like they've made their bets, and they gotta lay in it.
Was your family pretty like? Did they go to temple? Did they do Sabbath? Did they do kind of stuff?
No, I mean, like most American Jews, I grew up going to Hebrew school from
Right.
the age of preschool till I got my. Well, actually, I didn't have a bar mitzvah at first because I was like, didn't really believe in structured religion at 12. I was very ahead of my time and stuff like that. But funny enough, when I did the trip to Israel, Birthright Israel, like, you get so seduced and brainwashed that they're like, at the end, after they take you to the Wailing Wall and Mossad and the Holocaust Museum, they're like, this is literally, I'm not even joking. It's like the last night, they're like, okay, so like, does anyone want to get bat mitzvah that didn't have one? And I'm like, yes, please, I want one now, please. Like,
So
like,
you did Birthright.
Yeah, I did Birthright.
How old were you?
19 in college. Yeah,
And
I
did
remember.
they come like recruit you at the?
No, it was just
college, or-
Hillel. That's like one of like the big Jewish, like Reform Jewish organizations that's on every college campus. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty much like a given that like if you're a Jewish American, you're gonna go on Birthright Israel between the ages of 18 and 26. Like,
Right.
it's just a standard. Like, what, a free trip to Jews? We love free. Like, we're gonna save a buck. So.
Yeah.
And so, what's your experience like? You went for like a week or what?
Yeah, you go for a week and stuff. They bring these hot Israeli soldiers on with you and stuff. Like, and they're all like into us because at that age they're all soldiers, so they're all have boring lives pretty much. So American men, like, we're very interesting to them. I didn't hook up with any, but they bring a couple girls and a couple guys for the Jewish, because at the end of the day, Birthright is all about making Jewish babies. It's all about like us finding our. It's like it's a big Jewish singles night, basically, is what it is. But I remember going. I have a very fond memory of going because the first day you go to Jerusalem, and they were like, well, first of all, it was back when Young Jeezy was very popular, and I wore a Can't Ban the Snowman T-shirt at the Wailing Wall. I was pretty sure I'm probably the first human being to do that at the Wailing Wall, so I was proud of that. But they were like, guys, whatever you do, like, don't go into the Arab section, like, stay in the zone. You know what I mean? Like, when you're in Jerusalem, but of course, I'm a 19-year-old guy from New York. Well, they're not gonna tell me what the to do. I'm gonna go to the Arab section and see what's up. And lo and behold, I go to the Arab section. I'm like talking to some shop owners. I'm like, so what's the deal? Like, do you guys hate it? Like, they know, man, business is business. Like, you buy a shirt, like, and look, and they had all the same knickknacks and shirts that the Israeli shops had, but it was half as much. I was like, ain't that like, ain't this the like, that's why they didn't want me. They want me to have to pay the top dollar for this horrible stuff. But it's just there's a very active effort to make American Jews feel this allegiance to the state of Israel, and it's very insidious, especially because like me, my family is from Eastern Europe, Russia. Like, I know where my family came from. Like, it's crazy that there's people that look like me who think they're more Semitic than Palestinians. Like, that's just absolutely insane.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So when did you become a jihadi?
Allah Akbar. Yeah, I mean, so like I was saying, it's something that we always knew about, but I think October 7th was a flashpoint where we're like, now we can't be on the fence anymore. Like, we have to, there's no more like kind of ignoring this and stuff like that. Cause it's always put us like, oh, Israel is the safest place for Jews. Like, how is this a safe place for us? Like, if you literally took people's land, like I would argue that it makes us less safe and creates more anti-Semitism, that sort of attitude.
So you converted like October 7th.
Had my shahad?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say convert. I mean, I spoke out the very next day. I posted a story about it, and I was viciously attacked. I had people from high school reaching out to me, like, fuck, terrorists, like, how dare you? Like,
I mean,
you said something about the occupation, right? You said
I said the very first day.
Yeah.
And then like a week later, I made a statement. It ended up going viral on TikTok and Instagram. I got like 1 million views, like just kind of explaining the history of Palestine, Israel, about like, putting into context, like, because, like, Zionists would make you believe that, oh, they just hate us because we're Jews. Like, that's stupid. It's the same thing if it was the French that were in Palestine. They'd be fighting the French the way they did in Algiers or Tunisia. Like, it's not about religion. It's about land. It's about occupation. And,
Being that early is interesting to me because I remember when October 7th happened. The PR was definitely I was
Oh.
I was you know, I had a parachute and everything. No, we were doing a show with Sammy. It was a somber
Yeah,
moment
here in New York City. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
here
had a
we
show.
were in New York, so we
Yeah.
were just, you know, hiding out in tunnels.
It hadn't.
Right.
It hadn't sunk in at that point. People
Right.
that were not, because we didn't actually. I mean, we actually still don't know exactly what happened that day,
Right.
but like it didn't fully. The story didn't fully unfold until like the next few days.
Yeah.
And so everybody was just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
The
and,
Yeah.
and I do remember like when it happened, the public goodwill was towards the Jewish side because the media was like, oh, like Palestinian terrorists parachuted into a music festival, took hostages, and killed civilians.
Right. Yeah.
So you speaking out that early pro-Palestinian, that's it's a gold star.
Well,
right?
I'm not here to get a pat on the back, but like I saw right away sort of what was happening, the narrative that they were starting to put and stuff like that, and the demonization of the Palestinians and the way they started bombing civilians right away. I just knew that like I needed to speak up. Like I could not remain silent. Like I was literally like laying in my bed, like I need to say something. I cannot be quiet because I'm a Jewish American with a huge platform, and like, you know, if at the end of the day, if anyone's going to change the way America deals with this whole thing, it's going to be the Jewish Americans that like put it at the forefront. Like it's on us, like to try and make something change. So, you know, I this is bigger than me now at this point. Like, you know, I have no ifs, ands, or buts about. Like I understand what the danger I put myself in by doing this.
Do you feel like it's affected like acting opportunities?
No, funny enough, I've worked more in legit TV film this year than other years. So not really. I mean, they've tried. They hit up my representation. My representation basically was just like they already follow me on social media.
Yeah,
they know what I'm
so
about.
your reps are cool with what you do.
Yeah, I mean, as long as all they care about is that my booking work. I had 2 auditions today. I did like you know, for major TV shows. Like, you know, people know. I told you know, like I think it's going to become actually a positive that I'm someone who's outspoken. There's a lot of people in the industry that are, but 100%. There's a lot of people who are really scared because let's be honest, like that's why it's funny when they're like, oh, like look at you doing this for Hollywood, you're getting paid. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this for clout because everyone knows like it's the Palestinians that run the Hollywood industry in America. Like you know, like it's just so like they have no logic or thinking. It's just.
I was gonna say like your representation's pretty real for that. That's like a real like real like Jewish nuts and bones, right? It's like, hey, I don't care what you post as long as you bring the money.
Like I said, like that, they just said we're bringing this to your attention. We're not taking any action at this time. To me, that's basically the best I'm gonna get, and I'm happy with that. And I'm still getting auditions, so you know. That's great. That's the thing they do. They try and destroy you, and that's why they hate. That's why I 99% of the people online like that talk are cowards. They don't show their face. So I always tell them like your words mean nothing to me. Like you're a little demon, the way you say things and horrible things. You're scared. You don't want to show your face. That's why I go on TikTok. I love trolling these like because I'll be like, why aren't you in the IDF? You're military age. Like oh, like you know, I have a job. I'm in school. I have a disability. I'm like, yeah, you got a mental disability probably.
My back hurts.
You
and
know?
I have glasses.
Yeah, so there's just certain things that I push on. Like that's why you can't have a good faith conversation with a Zionist because they're gonna gaslight you to hear them burnt up, and like they can't even, you know. I've yet to meet one person like because I've been on a lot of panels online where I'm like, can you admit like I have like a few questions that I ask people if they're trying to have a legit conversation with me like a real debate, not just a personal attack. I'm like, can you admit at this point we're 9 months later and it's been well documented that the 40 beheaded babies things was a total fabrication lie. Most people refuse to admit that. How can I have a logical conversation with someone who still believes that atrocity propaganda, which is a big part of the justification of why they jumped in there and started slaughtering everyone? I remember when I was posting, my mom, she's like, I can't believe you posted that. They're cutting babies' heads off. I'm like, Mom, that's totally bullshit, you know?
Yeah, that should be a conversation opener. Like,
yeah,
dude, were 40 babies beheaded? If yes.
Yeah, well, that brings me to my next. You know, I have like a couple of different like questions, just like yes or no questions because it's just we don't need to get into all of them. But that's just like because
such a round number too. It's like
like there's some OCD.
I had another woman say,
40.
I had one Zion woman in a chat was like, oh well, you know, it's just he saw kids beheaded, he misspoke. I'm like, no. Biden said he saw the photos. Like, let's not rewrite history here. Yeah,
he said 40 babies with no heads. I couldn't sniff their hair.
Yeah.
You know, I asked this to a lot of people because nobody has the answer, but like, what do you hope for? What do you think is the solution?
Solution, right?
Yeah.
I know we talk so much about the conflict. Like,
What is the solution? Yeah.
I mean, I think at the very least, something that is obtainable and is actually doable is obviously America stop funding Israel.
Yeah.
That's something that is attainable.
Right.
I mean, obviously, like there's so many hurdles, APAC, everything, but like something that we could do here in America.
Right.
The same way like we protested the Vietnam War and everything like that, like to stop the money flowing into all that.
Right.
That's the same thing that has to be done here. So if at the very least we do that, because I think if that happened, Israel would stop their aggression tomorrow. Like if they don't have the bombs and weapons and money, then they're not gonna, you know.
Right.
Because the reality is Israel's getting beat the up. And it's like the Western media wants to portray like they're kicking it, but like I talked to a lot of sources on the ground in Lebanon and Gaza, like they're underreporting like what's going on, like 110. I'm sure you hear the same thing.
Oh yeah, no, they're getting spanked by dudes in sandals.
You know, it's nuts. But so that at the very least, and there has to be a one state. I don't think a 2-state solution is something that is very realistic. We need to, the thing is, Israeli people, especially in America, like to say like, oh, it's Netanyahu, it's the government, it's not Israelis. And I hate to break it to you, but Israeli culture is pretty racist and terrible, and they hate Arabs and they hate Muslims. And so that brainwashing has to be undone too. Like, so I would want to see a world where obviously kick all those others out the West Bank. Like the fact that they just approved another 5,000 families to go there, insane. And that's what.
And then they wonder why.
Right, and that's and there's a lot going on in the West Bank that is not being reported on. Like that's BB's next target.
If anything, it's really I mean, it's like everything else is like obviously is real and what's happening in Gaza, but it's like it's a big smokescreen.
Yeah, and West Bank. Yeah, so America stopped funding it, end the settlements in the West Bank. Obviously, right of return for all Palestinians. The fact that me, who I've never had no connection to Israel, that I could go move to fucking Tel Aviv right now or the West Bank, kick a Palestinian out of his home, become a citizen of Israel, get free healthcare, free education, while millions of Palestinians across the world
you should do that and then give your home to a Palestinian family.
I'm in it for the long gag. I'm in it for the long. This is commitment. I'm very committed to my comedy.
Just went and got like land, a good plot of land, and then just gave it to a Palestinian family.
So to me, those are things that obviously there's a lot of red tape, but like those are things that like I feel like can be actually done. Where it's like when because people always want to know like actual physical, like what is your plan? I think those are things that can be done. Like many people can go to America, go to Europe, go wherever they want. Like, this idea that like we're not safe anywhere, like. I would argue Israel makes Jews across the world far less safe at this point, you know?
You mentioned a one-state solution. Like, what do you envision, like, goes... Because I know, like, a lot of people would, like, hear that in the comments and be like, oh, like, they want to erase us. Like, what do you think?
No, like, a actual thing where people are... The actual promise of whatever Israel thinks that, like, they have, where it's, like, Palestinians can move freely. They're not third-class citizens, like, where they are representing the government. They're so disingenuous the way they're like, well, we have a big Arab Israeli population. I'm like, yeah, that's Arab Israeli, not Palestinians. Like, you know, there's difference. Like, they're very disingenuous the way they try and market it. Like
so they just live in harmony together.
Ideally, but the thing is, you know what it is? The Israelis, the Zionists, they hate Arabs. They hate Muslims. And honestly, I feel more. Let me put it this way: I feel safer. I would feel safer standing in the middle of a Muslim city. Wearing a kippah on than I would being here on the Upper East Side wearing a kufi on. Because I've actually, funny story, I'll tell you this story. I'm walking down the street with my kufi on. This is like near Columbus Circle right here, like South Central Park. Walking, minding my own business, not a rally or anything. I'm just walking down the street, minding my business. All of a sudden, there's a guy standing by his car and he goes, hey, only wear that. I'm like, what'd you say to me? He's like, yeah, only wear that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Take my phone out, I start recording the thing, and then he's like, I'm like, what did you say again? And basically made him go viral. And like his brother, he owns this financial company, his brother's the president. He's like, he's mentally ill. It's always mental illness when they get caught, you know, being racist. Right. But the reason I bring it up is because, you know, Jews, we always talk about, like, oh, it's not safe. Like, it's so ironic. It is so ironic. As I'm talking to my camera, it is so ironic. The first time that I experienced a hate crime, it's because I'm wearing a kufiya and not for being Jewish. Like that is like, if that isn't the universe like telling me like what I'm doing is right, then I don't know what the fuck is. Like, like, you know.
When you get a hate crime, you know you're in the right place.
Yeah, I was just so shocked, bro. I was like, because you know, like I'm a white guy. What kind of thing, like you know, oh, you cracker, like it's not gonna sting, like, but like I was like, what? Oh, you crazy.
Literally the fashion police, right? It's like for your fit.
The funny thing was he had no shirt on. He was wearing like leather pants, so like maybe he was mentally ill a little bit. You know, he's like flexing his muscles in the video projecting. And shit. Yeah. You know?
What do you think about these people who spread, and including the media, but like who perpetuate the narrative that these pro-Palestine marches, these encampments, they're all anti-Semitic, and I mean, obviously, like we know what the truth is, but like as somebody who goes to them actively, like what do you tell people? What would you say to people?
I would say it's all sort of Western media. I mean, I feel more in touch with my Judaism in the last 9 months than I've probably ever felt in my life. You know, sort of, and having people interested in, like, I remember going to the encampments. I went to like the ones here at CCNY and NYU. And like it was during Passover, like we literally had Passover seders at the encampments, like that was crazy. Like that's why it's like so preposterous. But they say like, oh, it's not safe for, like, literally half of the crowd is usually Jewish people like me, you know. But they hate us because we destroy their narrative of this is some anti-Semitic, you know. Anytime we're at a rally, the violence comes from the Zionists who come there to counter protest to try and get some shit on us and the cops. It is not us looking for violence at any point. I'll shout a guy down. I love on them, Lord knows, but like I'm not gonna swing first. I'm not looking for violence, but they come to purposely try and antagonize us, to try and get a viral video, to try and farm clip us and stuff like that.
Right.
You know?
Speaking of viral videos, I know you're like in the space, so you've probably seen a lot of the content. And you're from New York, so I saw something on like a New York subway. You mentioned how typically at these rallies, it's counter protesters trying to antagonize and incite violence. I saw something on the subway system where there were Palestinian supporters, and they were asking people on the trains, like, oh, are there any Zionists? No,
that was my boy. I was on that train car. No, because we were doing a rally at Union Square, and the cops were basically ready. They thought we were going to march like down south, like from there. And they didn't. We all rushed the train that day. Like, so what you don't see from before that is a rush of 1,000 people. The cops literally punching us, like, because there were people hopping on the turnstile. They're trying to arrest people, opening the emergency exit. It was pandemonium and stuff. And we finally got on, and we were just like, we were sitting in the station for probably 20, 30 minutes. And that guy, he's part of, he was just like saying, like, he was joking, like, hey, you got any signs? You want to get out? Like, we're not doing anything. Like, it's just, but yeah, we're like, Israel, Zionism. Like, it's just letting it be known, like, and.
Yeah, but you can see how people would consider that, like, not helpful to the cause, right?
Honestly, fuck their feelings. That's how I say it. Like, it was a moment in time. They made even like a wanted. Like, what did he do? He didn't do any crime. Like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing there. It's like menacing in the 3rd degree or something. Like, I literally have people come up to me, Zionists, and be like, I hope your family gets killed. Like, wow, that's really? Real. That's real threats. Not some Zion. That's why it's such bull. They literally. Last rally I was at, there's a lady holding a Palestinian flag. It said us on it. Someone was wearing had a kufiya, was written in blood, like, Palestinians are racist, stuff like that. Wow. And that's the real vitriol shit. Not someone being like, if you're a Zionist, get off the train. Like, get the So that's why, like,
Yeah, no, I'm just curious. Just like.
No, that was all blown out of proportion. Like I just told you, I was literally on that train car. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's actually it's kind of funny. You were like, I thought you were joking.
No, we were laughing when I saw them put up like the Zio influencers put his picture up. I started cracking up. I was sending them like, bro, you see this? Like,
But that kind of gets into my next question, where it's like, do you feel like there's any like the train incident? I saw on the internet, like, a lot of like, hate towards like, like the cause, because it's not necessarily the most productive message like out to the world, and it can get blown out of proportion and things like that. So do you feel like, like the
look, we're here to cause disruption. We're here to shake things up. We're not here to get permits. That organization I marched with, there's an organization like Answer Coalition who I've worked marching with for 20 years. They get permits. They get because we'll get arrested if we use a speaker. If you don't have a permit, they'll come. Right. So that's why at our rallies you'll see the speaker be like say it, and then the crowd like says back what she just said, so it amplifies it. So basically, we're there to create disruption. Like that. How do you think revolution happens? How things change? Like, you can't just like protest isn't supposed to be convenient. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to create havoc. You know, it's supposed to create conversation. Like I look at what people went through during the civil rights movement, like, you know, with water hose and dogs after them and getting killed. Like, you know, we're in the early stages of that. Like this is the first year of something that's going to take decades. Like this is a long battle. This is not happening overnight. Like this is, you know, look at Vietnam. It took 10 years. Civil rights took decades. Like, so we're at the forefront of that. And you're going to see more and more disruption. I mean, you look at some activists that went to weapons plants and caused damage there to try and stop bombs being sent and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is there has to be radical action, and it's not. And the fact that Biden and all these people just continue to send bombs, like, you know, it's just the world's at a boiling point. You know, it's like, how much more can we take? You know,
right. So to answer your question, not enough disruption.
Yeah.
No, and that's fair.
Right.
I'm just trying to ask you like popular counterpoints, just so like you can like, you know, educate.
Yeah,
now,
no, for sure.
You earlier said like, oh, you know, you said I don't deal with Zionists or like waste my time or like, you know, talk to Zionists.
Productive.
But let's say you were, you know, you have your one last ditch chance to like reach them, or somebody who's like a soft Zionist or on the fence. What's your message to those people?
I mean, it's hard because they lack empathy and humanity. So it's like I can't really like.
What if they got a shred? What if they got a little?
I mean, I just say put yourself in their shoes. What would you do if a foreign entity came into your land, took more than half, you know, 80% of it at this point, killed members of your family, didn't allow you to collect rainwater. It's illegal for Palestinians to collect rainwater, dig wells, a million other things. What would you do? That would be my question. What would you do if Israel killed your child? What would you do? And it would be so disingenuous to like, oh well, I'd write my congressman. Like, no, let's be for real. You know, Americans, right? Where they red blooded America, they love talking about, yeah, like don't tread on me, 1776, like, you know, America, revolution. Like these Zionists would be like, if it was the Boston Tea Party, be like, oh, they shouldn't have thrown, oh, they destroyed the tea. Oh my God, like it's so bad.
They should have went to the town halls.
Yeah, they should have went to the town halls. There's a better way to handle this.
They had a chance to accept
like that's
the
what I'm saying.
tax.
Like, the people the same people who preach like American for like are the same ones that would tell you, oh, Palestinians don't have a right to resist, even though Geneva Convention very plainly states that they have a right to resist. You know, so that's really my thing: is try to put yourself in their shoes. And realize that this is not about religion. This is not about Muslims. This is not about Judaism. This is about land. This is about there. Muslims do not hate Jewish people. Like, Jews are very much revered. Muslims literally protected Jewish people during the Crusades and during the Ottoman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people don't know that. Like, so I think we have to do a lot of deprogramming and de-brainwashing of Americans to realize. And I think we need to have more. You know, I'm trying to build these bridges and normalize. You know, sort of Muslim culture, and you know, and if I can do that through content and stuff like that, to sort of make it see that we have way more in common than we do different, then I'm pretty happy about that. And I want to keep.
Man, I love it.
Probably good. I feel this was like a cathartic moment because I had Sammy. I was like, I need to get on a podcast.
No, of course, because
shit,
you are. I mean, for obviously you act and you've done all sorts of, but you're a short form guy. Mm-hmm. Like you slay short form on a daily. And I know you. So I know you don't do a lot of. I know you've done long form stuff, but I know you don't do a lot of long form.
Right.
So a podcast technically kind of being a long form.
Right.
The whole time I've just been like, what's going to be a good clip from this? You know, and I see it. You speak. You're very good at. You make points and sound bites, so it's like, man. I mean, I see
all clocked under 1 minute.
Yeah, we got 10
of course.
pieces
I know.
of content. This guy's efficient. Right
you know. I
here.
mean, George Soros has been paying me and training me well. You know, so I gotta have my points in there.
Money works.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having me on, guys.
Of course, bro.
And you guys can catch me. I'm gonna be on American Sports Story, the new Ryan Murphy series. Like, I'm working on an episode of that. Also, check me out on the new Saturday Night Live movie coming out at the end of the year, and a film called Dr. Doctor that I'm starring with Stephen He. And am I missing anything else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And follow me on all my social media channels. Jacob Berger Actor. That's Berger with an E, not a U. No, Jew spells with a U.
Before we actually send you off, do you want to sign us off with like 16 bars or something?
16 bars? Do we have any music? All right, now let's do acapella. That's true. Okay. All right. All All right, check it. Hey, yo, 1, 2, 3. You talking to the JACOB. You know I'm on the podcast getting it ripping. Man, you know I'm sitting up. Yeah, something be different. Yeah, me and Sammy. Yeah, we get it cracking. Free Palestine. I'm going to show you what happened. From the river to the sea. That's a fact. Because you know the white boy Jew bring it back. How I just do. Man, we stacking in the building. Man, I can't stop. Man, stop in the killing. We got to do it, man. Bring it on back. How we just put it on the track. Yeah.
All right. Hey, thank you so much.
Off the dome. Easy, Bob.